Hi guys, welcome back to our podcast. My name's Cielo,
And my name is Aubrey.
and today we're going to be talking about policy analysis within our chosen agencies. So for me, I chose the eligibility requirements policy for Hayes Nursing and Rehabilitation Center. So basically, with mine, it's has certain eligibility requirements that you need to meet in order to be a resident at this facility and to get immediate admission. So like most of the time, the decisions for us are made on a case-to-case basis. But usually the guidelines that we try to follow come through an admit decision maker. And so with that, it has different levels. So the first one is green, then yellow, then red. So obviously green means yes, they can be admitted. Yellow is like maybe, and then red is like for sure, no. So some of the ones I'm gonna rate some. So one of them in the green is like small minor injuries and like post-op care. And then some yellow ones are going to be antibiotic therapy, head or spinal cord injury. And then a red is suicidal tendencies or active TB. And then Audrey, do you want to go ahead and explain yours?
So I currently volunteer at the SOS Food Bank in New Braunfels, and I picked the non-discrimination policy. And basically, this is posted everywhere around just to make sure that everybody feels safe. And it's basically to ensure compliance with the laws and the United States Department of Agriculture's mission to provide equal access to help discriminating. This policy prevents programs from discriminating based on like race, color, national origin, religion, sex. And then it also talks about people with disabilities who can't read it, can ask them to find a form to where they can read it. Whereas in like if you can't see very well and they need to print a page out where it's big enough for them to read it. And also it's in English and Spanish. So yes.
Yeah, and I like that yours is in English and Spanish. And it's like on all of your websites that like you go and look at, right? Um,
Yeah.
because for me, I had to go in and actually get a physical paper of it. So mine isn't really like public knowledge, honestly. So I do like that. And then also with the English Spanish, mine I only got an English paper. I'm unaware if there's Spanish, honestly. So I'm not too sure on that. Um, so
Well,
sorry,
okay.
go ahead.
Well, mine's all about like donations and like reaching out to a bunch of people and doing like food drives and finding people who want to come in and volunteer and work for free. So creating like a web page was one of the smartest things. And we also put stuff in newspapers and yeah, host like a bunch of drives so people that know about us.
Yeah. See, and I feel like that's kind of where ours differ a little bit. Um, because mine is usually um like a doctor will refer them to like my facility or um like a child or something will be looking on the internet and find the website, but that's pretty much it. So there's not so much out there regarding my facility. So I don't know. But now we can go into some similarities and differences within both of our policies, because discrimination definitely ties into eligibility, especially when, talking about, oh, you can come, you can't, you know? Um, so I feel like, especially with your disability, that your policy like kind of advocates for. Um, Mine doesn't really do that because certain like disabilities, like I'm guessing, severe depression, like you can't be admitted if you have that. So, um, do you want to go ahead and Start with some
And what's
similarities.
so like, well, both of our policies both promote fair and equal access to services without judging someone based on their background or identity. We do differ a little bit because mine's strictly based on income and yours is more about the mental and physical state that they're in, right?
Yeah.
So I just thought of that one. And then another similarity was that these policies that are passed are created by the federal and state regulations as well as the civil rights laws. And then honestly, like we're both working with really like vulnerable people, like people that are older and like, don't necessarily want to ask for help but need help. And I'm also working with people that don't necessarily want to be vulnerable and ask for food, but like they need food. So I feel like um, being a really kind and accepting person, like we both need to be like that so that our clients feel comfortable.
Hmm. Yeah, I definitely agree. I also this just came to my head actually like while you were talking. Um, with yours, you give food out to those who need it, right, for free. Um, for me in our facility, you have to have certain insurance. Like your insurance has to like cover a certain thing in order to have food for yourself, you know? Um,
Yeah.
and I'm sure that there's ways around that, but
Mhm.
I mean, they have vending machines and stuff like that, but client or residents are going to have to pay for that themselves out of their pockets. Uh,
I know that my place every 6 months, like we give out emergency food to anybody who needs it without having to like get their name and like address and date of birth and income. But usually we do have to run them through regulations and find out if they just have to meet a certain requirement to get
mhm.
free food from us like once a month.
Oh,
So
that
yeah.
makes sense, definitely. Um, Another difference that we have, honestly, is as I was saying, the levels that I have, whereas your non-discrimination policy is just one statement. It's you follow this. Whereas mine is, okay, well, we can maybe have you, or like, someone can have multiple green levels, but then like one yellow, and they
Yeah.
just kind of have to evaluate that. Whereas your non-discrimination is just kind of like everyone has to follow this no matter what,
Yeah.
you know?
Literally like just don't do it. You know
Yeah,
what I
just
mean?
don't do it.
Yeah.
Awesome. And then another difference that we have is the yours does not discriminate against age or disability, and then mine kind of does. And then also the case by case, and another one is going to be how yours is clearly stated on the website, whereas mine you kind of have to dig, call around, or visit the facility in person.
Like what is it though? Like out of the three levels, like is it like if you have this like disease or disability, like you're in this category?
So it basically says, yeah, something like that. So if someone had like a previous disease, like let's say TB, that's a yellow. So I can read some for us actually.
Do they get like
So
treated differently?
the what? Sorry.
Are they like treated differently? Like based on
Um,
their level?
so some of them who have certain disabilities or physical needs. Um, it's also a rehabilitation center. So with that, we have occupational therapists come in, physical therapists come in, speech. Um, they all come in and it's paid through their insurance. So they can only come in if their insurance covers it because that's how they get paid. So let's say someone is needing rehab with their arm or something, they are going to have the physical therapist come in and they're going to have their own treatment plan because there's like a treatment plan team that like does all of that. So after they're admitted, based on more eligibility that they meet, they'll be treated in a different way than like someone else would, if that makes any sense at all.
Yeah, that makes sense. So basically, like another difference is that like your eligibility policy isn't like posted everywhere so everybody can read it. It's just like for people that work in the back and like people that take care of them get to read it
Yeah.
versus mine that's posted everywhere. Because I guess like when you walk into a food bank, you immediately want to know that policy. Like you want to immediately know that you're walking somewhere where no one's going to judge you for your background or your race versus yours. That's the information that's on your sheet doesn't technically have to be known for them to feel comfortable going there because they have to go there for help, you know? But I mean,
Hmm.
like, that's probably not something they would want to look at, you know? Because I mean, like, if I was in the red, I'd be like,
Yeah, I'd be
you
like,
know,
darn. Like,
I'm depressed. Like that sucks. I'm the worst, you know?
mhm.
Versus like mine gives it an accepting vibe. You know what I mean?
I definitely agree, especially since it's like non-discrimination. So I
Right.
so agree with that. Um, but going off of that, um, why do you think that your policy is effective, honestly?
Why do I think it's effective? I would say that our like mine is like a nonprofit, like really, really small organization.
Hmm.
And it's not like the big San Antonio food bank. So what we have is really, really limited. And we are given food completely based on donations. So our restrictions at this food bank are, you know, sort of strict. I mean, and if you don't meet the requirements, like there's literally nothing we can do about it. So I feel like it's effective by showing people that, you know, we're not rejecting you this food based on your background or your race. You know what I mean? Like these, like basically just like this is the set of rules and requirements that we have. And if you meet them, you meet them, and if you don't, you don't. So having the big non-discrimination like policy posted everywhere, and also on the non-discrimination policy, it gives a link to where you can report or file a case, basically being like, you know, they're doing this. So it's basically like we're not doing it based on your race and background, but if you think we are, you know, you can fill out the form. Like we're just trying to show them that. Um, I think that's why it's effective. Is
Yeah.
that people can't. Do you see what I'm trying to say?
No,
Like
I
people
definitely get you. Um,
blame it on,
mhm.
you know what I mean?
Yes, definitely. And I really like that they have that choice for you if you do feel discriminated against to be able to do something about it, you know?
It gives them
Um,
a little bit more, like
definitely,
more
definitely.
confidence, I would say.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think that that is all that we have for you guys today. I really hope that you guys enjoyed listening to our podcast, and we will be
Mhm.
back soon with another episode. So thank you guys.
Bye, y'all. Thanks for watching.
Bye. Thank you.